So there's a claim spreading through the options content right now that really deserves some examination. Deep in the money call options are better than buying a stock. You'll see this framed as a capital efficiency hack, a leverage play for disciplined investors, a way to get stock-like exposure with less money at less risk, and there's enough truth in it to make the claim kind of attractive and enough nuance missing to make it really dangerous if you act on it without really understanding what you're actually doing. So this topic has absolutely blown up recently for a reason, but the reason it's compelling and the reason it actually works, a deep in the money call option is a call option whose strike price is significantly below the current market price of the stock. If a stock is trading at 100 and you buy a call with a $70 strike, that option is deep in the money. It has a $30 intrinsic value, the difference between the stock price and the strike, plus a small amount of time value depending on how far out your expiration. The reason deep in the money call options behave like a stock is delta. Delta measures how much an option's price moves for every dollar in the underlying stock. A deep in the money call has a delta very close to 1, meaning if the stock moves $1, the options moves roughly $1. It mimics stock ownership almost exactly in terms of the price sensitivity. The appeal is pretty straightforward, and instead of paying $10,000 to own 100 shares of a $100 stock, you might pay $3,200 for a deep in the money call that controls the same 100 shares and moves almost identically to the stock, right? You're using obviously less capital for near identical price exposure. On the surface, that sounds like a lot better deal if you ask me. The reason this has gained so much traction recently is that it fits the current environment really well, right? We got volatile markets where investors want equity exposure, but they're also being very cautious about deploying large amounts of capital at elevated prices. Deep in the money calls let you participate without full capital commitment. The pitch lands because the timing it's really right, especially in this market right now. So here's how I interpret the strategy through the lens of what I really care about: capital protection, income generation, and sustainable risk, of course, right? The first thing I notice is that deep in the money call options are long options positions. That means you are the buyer of a premium, not a seller, right? The entire framework of our Ark strategy, and the reason I even run the wheel, is that over time, option sellers have a structural edge over options buyers because of how time value works, right? An option loses time value every day it exists. Buyers are fighting that decay. Sellers, we collect in it. A deep in the money call minimizes time value as much as possible. That's partly why the strategy is very attractive. With very little time value in the option, the decay is slow, but it's not zero. You are still paying for time, and that time value cost is real even when it's very small. The second thing I notice is you don't own the stock. You own the right to buy the stock at that price before the expiration. That distinction has a real consequence for income generation, for dividends, and for what happens when the option, let's say, approaches expiration. Understanding those consequences is what separates someone, using this tool, intelligently from someone who bought it because the pitch made sense to them and they learned about it on YouTube, But let's talk about the capital efficiency argument, right? This is where it holds up. Let's take the absolute strongest version of, the bull case here, right? Let's say you want exposure to a $150 stock, buying 100 shares, 15 grand. Buying a deep in the money call with a $100 strike, $50 in the money might cost $5,200 for a 12-month expiration. That $5,200 controls the same 100 shares with a delta of approximately 0.92. If the stock moves from 150 to 175, your option gains roughly $23 a share, literally nearly identical to the $25 gain you capture as a shareholder. Your capital at risk here is $5,200, obviously, instead of 15 grand. And if the stock goes to zero, which is obviously a catastrophic scenario, you only lose $5,200 instead of 15K. The floor of your loss is defined. The upside participation, it really is nearly identical. And that's a genuine advantage, right? It's real for an investor with limited capital who wants to participate in a high price stocks move without full capital commitment. The math, it holds up in that specific scenario. Let's talk about now the time value problem, where it really starts to get complicated with this. Here's what the capital efficiency pitch really glosses over. When you buy a 12-month deep in the money call, you're paying for 12 months of time value in addition to the intrinsic value. On a $150 stock with a $100 strike, you're not paying exactly $50 for the option. You're paying $52 or $53. That extra $2 or $3 is pure time value that evaporates regardless of what the stock is going to do. It's It's the cost of renting the exposure rather than owning it. If the stock goes nowhere for 12 months and you're still holding your call, you've lost that time value component, okay? The shareholder in the same period literally lost nothing. They still own the same shares. This is, a small but still real cost that compounds across multiple positions and obviously multiple expirations, right? The longer your holding period, the more time value you need to pay. Investors who plan to hold a deep in the money call for 2 or 3 years are paying a renewal cost each time that option expires and they roll forward, right? Those costs, they're not catastrophic, but they also aren't free. And let's talk about no dividends, right? No shareholder rights, okay? This is the part of the content almost always never really addresses, right? A deep in the money call doesn't entitle you to dividends, right? The stock maybe pays a $1.20 a share quarterly and you own the call. That income goes to the shareholders, right? Not you. Over the life of a long position in a dividend paying stock, right? This is, that's not no rounding error. It's definitely some meaningful income that you're not capturing at all. For the Ark strategy, specifically what we do here, this matters a great deal, right? A significant part of my income architecture is built around dividend stocks, dividend paying ETFs, right? Owning calls on those positions instead of the underlying eliminates that income layer completely. The capital efficiency gain has to be weighted against the dividend income surrendered. And in many cases, the dividend income over a course of 12 to 18 months period typically offsets a substantial portion of the time value that's being saved, right? Now, let's talk about the expiration cliffs, because we got one more risk that does not get enough attention on this. What happens as your call approaches your expiration date? An option has a fixed life. A stock does not. As your deep in the money call approaches your expiration date, you face a decision: exercise, sell, or roll to the next expiration. Each of those has a cost or creates a taxable event. A shareholder never, is forced this decision. They can hold indefinitely, right? In a declining market, rolling a deep in the money call forward can be an extremely expensive because you're buying more time value at exactly the moment the position, is under a lot of pressure, right? The investor who bought stock never has to make that uncomfortable, time pressure decision, okay? Deep in the money calls are a legitimate tool, with genuine use case, right? They're gaining near stock equivalent exposure to, high price stocks with less capital deployment and defined maximum loss, right? In that specific context, of course, the strategy does what it claims to do. But the framing that they're simply, better than buying stocks is way too broad in my opinion. They're better in some dimensions, but capital efficiency, defined risk, and worse in others, right? Time value costs, no dividends, expiration obligations. The investor who benefits from this approach is the one who needs capital efficiency way more than they need income, right? Especially if to be comfortable managing expiration cycles, and is buying calls on stocks that don't pay meaningful dividends either as well. For income-focused investors like us, the ones who want to build a portfolio around dividend growth, and options premiums, owning calls instead of the stock often means surrendering the very income streams that make the strategy work, right? You gain efficiency, but you're losing that really important yield. The real risk of the way this strategy is being marketed right now is that it's being presented as universally superior, which attracts investors who don't actually match the profile who it actually suits, right? Capital efficiency isn't valuable if you're sacrificing income that you are counting on to, let's say, fund your retirement or your life. So here's where I'm personally standing and where I land with all this. I don't use deep in the money calls as a substitute for stock ownership in my income portfolio. Right? The dividend income I'd surrender on positions like SCHD, JEPI, or quality dividend paying individual names is way too meaningful as part of my total return. Replacing those with calls would literally reduce my entire income floor for a capital efficiency benefit I do not need, at my current level of my account size. Where I can see using them though is high priced, non-dividend paying growth names, right? Where I want to be a little bit more tactical, have more tactical exposure without tying up, a full position capital. If I want to participate in a move in let's say a $400 stock, but I don't want to wrap up $40,000 committed to that one position, a deep in the money call with, let's say, 6 to 9 months of expiration gives me that without, dominating all of my capital. Literally, it's a tool. Like every tool, the question is whether the job you're trying to do matches what the tool is actually built for. For income architecture, I'll take the stock and the dividend. For, let's say, a tactical growth exposure in a very expensive non-dividend payer, This strategy, it's worth understanding for sure. So if I have two questions for you guys in the comments that I would love to spark some conversation around. Have you ever used deep in the money calls as a stock substitute? How did it actually work, right? How did your actual experience compare to owning the actual shares? And is there any specific high price stocks where you've thought about this approach, but you weren't sure if it really made sense for you? Drop the comment down below. Also, guys, I'd really appreciate you hitting that like button and that subscribe button. If you like this sort of content, make sure you tune in every day. And if you want to take your education further, I want to invite you to a 90-minute workshop. It'll be the first link in the description of today's video. At the end, I give you my 2 premium calculators as well as my full trade log template. Remember, guys, sell options, collect premiums, repeat. I'll see y'all tomorrow.